Hello friends, myself Vedant. So today we are seeing the economic chapter first, development. The idea of development or progress has always been with us. Chapter 1, Development. The idea of development or progress has always been with us. We have aspirations or desires about what we would like to do and how we would like to live. Similarly, we have ideas about what a country should be like. What are their essential things that we require? Can be life can life be better for all? How should people live together? Can there be more equality? Development involves more thinking about these questions and about the ways in which we can work towards achieving these goals. This is a complex task, and in this chapter, we shall make a beginning at understanding development. You will learn more about these issues in greater depth in higher classes. Also, you will find answers to many of these questions, not just in economics but also in your course in history and political science. This is because the way we live today is influenced by the past. We can't decide for changes without being aware of this. In the same way, it is only through a democratic political process that these hopes and possibilities can be achieved in real life. What development promises different people different goals. Let us try to imagine what development or progress is likely to mean to different persons listed in table 1.1. What are their aspirations? You will find that some columns are partially filled. Try to complete the table. You can also add any other category of persons. Landless rural laborers. More days to work and better wages. Local school is able to provide quality education for their children. There is no social discrimination and they too can become leaders in the village. Prosperous farmers from Punjab, assured to high family income through higher support prices for their crops and through hardworking and cheap laborers, they should be able to settle their own children abroad. A girl from a rich urban family. She gets as much freedom as her brother and is able to decide what she wants to do in life. She is able to pursue her studies abroad. Income and other goals. If you go over table 1.1 again, you will notice one common thing what people desire and regular work, better wages and decent prices for their crops or other products that they produce. In other words, they want more income. Besides seeking more income one way or the other, people also seek things like equal treatment, freedom, security, and respect for others. They resent discrimination. All these are important goals. In fact, in some cases, this may be more important than more income or more consumption because material goods are not all that you need to live. Money or material things that one can buy with it is one factor on which our life depends, but the quality of our life also depends on non material things mentioned above. If it is not obvious to you, then just think of the role of your friends in your life. You may desire their friendship similarly. There are many things that are not easily measured but they mean a lot to our lives. These are often ignored. However, it will be wrong to conclude that what cannot be measured is not important. Consider another example. If you get a job in a far off place, before accepting it, you would try to consider many factors apart from your income, such as facilities for your family, working atmosphere, or opportunity to learn. In another case, a job may give you less pay, but many offer regular employment that enhances your sense of security. Another job, however, many offer high pay but no job security and also leave no time for your family. This will reduce your sense of security and freedom. Similarly, for development, people look at mix of goals. It is true that if women are engaged in paid work, their dignity in their household and society increases. However, it is also the case that if there is respect for women, there would be more greater acceptance of women working outside. Safe and secure environment. Similarly, for development, people look at a mix of goals. It is true that if women are engaged in paid work, their dignity in household and society increases. However, it is also the case that if there is respect for women, there would be more sharing of housework and greater acceptance of women working outside. A safe and secure environment may allow more women to take up a variety of jobs or run a business. Hence, the development goals that people have are not only about better income but also about other important things in life. National development. If, as we seen above, individuals seek different goals, then their notion of national development is also likely to be different. Discuss among yourself on what India should do for development. Most likely, you would find that different students in the class have given different answers to the above question. In fact, you might yourself think of many different answers and not to be too sure of any of this. It is very important to keep in mind that different persons could have different as well as conflicting nations of country development. However, can all the ideas be considered equally important, or if these are conflicts, how does one decide? What would be a fair and adjust path for all? We also have to think whether there is a better way of doing things. Would the idea benefit a large number of people or only a small group? National development means thinking about these questions. How to compare different countries or states? You might ask, if development can mean different things, how come some countries are generally called developed and others underdeveloped? Before we come to this, let us consider another question. When we compare different things, they could have similarities as well as differences. Which aspects to do we use to compare them? Let us look at students in the class itself. How do how do we compare different students? They differ in their height, health, talents, and interest. The healthiest students may not be the most studious one. The most intelligent student may not be the friendliest one. So, how do we compare students? The criteria we may use depends on the purpose of comparison. We use different criteria to choose a sports team, a debate team, a music team, or a team organize a picnic. Still, it for some purpose we have to choose the criteria for all around the progress of children in the class. How shall we do it? Usually, we take one or more important characteristic of persons and compare them based on these characteristics. Of course, there can be different there can be differences about what are important characteristics, what should form the basis of comparison, friendliness and spirit of cooperation, creativity or mark secured. This is true of development too. For comparing countries, their income is considered to be one of the most important attributes. Countries with higher income are more developed than others with less income. This is based on the understanding that more income means more of all things that human beings need. Whatever people like and should have, they will be able to get with greater income. So greater income itself is considered to be one of important goal. Now, what is the income of a country? Intuitively, the income of the country is the income of all the residents of the country. This gives us the total income of the country. However, for a comparison between countries, total income is not such an useful measure. Since countries have different populations, comparing total income will not tell us what an average person is likely to earn. Are people in one country better off than others in a different country? Hence, we compare the advantage income, which is the total income of the country divided by its total population. The average income is also called per capita income. In World Development Reports brought out by the World Bank, this criteria is used in classifying countries. Countries with per capita income US dollar 12,736 per annum and above in 2013 are called rich countries, and those with per capita income of US dollar 1045 or less are called low income countries. India comes in the category of low middle income countries because its per capita income in 2013 was just US dollar 1570 per annum. The rich countries, excluding countries of Middle East and criteria and certain other small countries, are generally called developed countries. Income and other criteria. When we look at individual aspiration and goals, we found that people not only think of better income but also have goals such as security, respect for others, equal treatment, freedom, etc. in mind. Similarly, when we think of a nation or a region, we may besides average income think of other equally important attributes. What could these attributes be? Let us examine this through an example. Table 1.3 gives the per capita income of Maharashtra, Kerala, and Bihar. Actually, these figures are per capita new state domestic product at current prices for 2012 to 2013. Let us ignore what this complicated term exactly means. Roughly, we can take it to per capita income of the state. We find that we find that of the three, Maharashtra has the highest per capita income and per capita income and Bihar is the bottom. This means that on an average, a person in Maharashtra earn rupees 1 lakh 4,000 in 1 year, whereas on an average, a person in Bihar would earn only around rupees 27,200. So, if per capita income were to be used as the measure of development, Maharashtra will be considered the most developed and Bihar is the least developed state of the three. Now let us look at the certain other data pertaining to the states given in table 1.4. What does this table show? The first column of the table shows that in Kerala, out of 1000 children born, 12 died before completing 1 year of age. But in Maharashtra, the promotion of children dying within 1 year of birth was 25, which is more than double. On the other hand, the per capita income of Maharashtra is more than that of Kerala, as shown in table 1.3. Just think of how dear you are to your parents. Think of how everyone is happy when a child is born. Now try to think of parents whose children die before they can celebrate their first birthday. How painful it must be to these parents. Next, note the year to which this data pretends. It is 2012, so we are not talking of old times. It is more than 65 years after independence when our metro towns are full of high rise buildings and shopping malls. The problem does not end with the infant mortality rate. The last column of table 1.4 shows around two-thirds of children aged 14-15 in Bihar are not attending school beyond class 8. This means that if you went to school in Bihar, more than two-thirds of your class would be missing. Those who could have been in a school are not there. If this had happened to you, you would not be able to read what you are reading now. Public facilities. How is it that the average person in Maharashtra has more income than the average person in Kerala but lags behind in these crucial areas? The reason is money in your pocket cannot buy all the goods and services that you may need to live well. So, income by itself is not a completely adequate indicator of material goods and services that citizens are able to use. For example, normally your money cannot buy you a pollution free environment or ensure that you get un- unadulterated medicines unless you can afford to shift to a community that already has all these things. Unless you can afford to shift to a community that already has all these things. Money may also not be able to protect you from infectious diseases unless like the whole of your community takes preventive steps. Actually, for many of the important things in life, the best way, also the cheapest way, is to provide these goods and services collectively. Just think, will it be cheaper to have collective security for the whole locality or for each house to have its own security man? What if one what if no one other than you in your village or locality is interested in studying? Would you be able to study? Not unless your parents could afford to send you to some private school elsewhere. So you are actually able to study because many other children also want to study because many people believe that the government should open schools and provide other facilities so that all children have a chance to study. Even now, in many areas, children, particularly girls, are not able to achieve secondary level schooling because government society has not provided adequate facilities. Kerala has a low infant mortality rate because it has adequate provision of basic health and educational facilities. Similarly, in some states, In some states, the public distribution system (PDS) functions well. Health and nutritional status of people of such states is certainly likely to be better. Isn't it surprising that a small country in our neighborhood, Sri Lanka, is much ahead of India in every respect, and a big country like our such such a low rank in the world? Table 1.6 also shows that though Nepal has less than half the per capita income of India, yet it is not far behind India life expectancy and literacy levels. Many improvements have been suggested in calculating HDI and many new components have been added to the Human Development Report, but by prefixing human to development, it has made it very clear that what is important in development is what is happening to citizens of a country. It is people, their health, their well being that is most important. Do you think there are certain other aspects that should be considered in measuring human development? Sustainability of development. Suppose for the present that particular country is quite developed, we would certainly like this level of development to go up further or or at least be maintained for future generation. This is obviously desirable. However, since the second half of the 20th century, a number of scientists have been warning that the present type and levels of development are not sustainable. We have not inherited the world from our forefathers, we are borrowed it from our children. Groundwater is an example of renewable resources. These resources are replenished by nature, as in the case of crops and plants. However, even these resources may be overused. For example, in the case of groundwater, if we use more than what is being replenished by rain, we would be overusing these resources. Non-renewable resources are those which will get exhausted after years of use. We have a fixed stock on earth which cannot be replenished. We do discover new resources that we did not know of earlier. New sources in this way add to the stock. However, over time even this will get exhausted. For example, crude oil that we extract from the earth is a non-renewable resource. However, we may find a source of oil that we did not know of earlier. Explorations are being undertaken all the time. Consequences of environmental degradation do not respect national or state boundaries. This issue is no longer region or nation specific. Our future is linked together. Sustainability of development is comparatively a new area of knowledge in which scientists, economists, philosophers, and others social scientists are working together. In general, the question of development or progress is perennial at all times. As a member of society and as individuals, we need to ask where we want to go, what we wish to become, and what our goals are. So the debate on development continues. Thank you, friends. Stay steady with me. Bye bye.